Welcome back to You Loving Life. I'm Michelle, and I'm so happy you guys are here today because I'm going to talk about something that is really important for every single person. And that is, how do you protect your energy from unhealthy others who are trying to get back into your field, trying to get back into your good graces, or trying to get back in only to hurt you some more? How do you protect yourself from suffering because you don't want to disappoint other people or you have trouble saying no? So I have a bunch of questions from the questioner to Sri Klemp, and I'm going to read and offer my own input. And the first questioner asks, I've been aware that members of a religious group I used to be involved with are trying to come to me, get me under their influence, not only by sending things in the mail, but also through the dream state. Now, that's a real place where people can try to come and influence you. And if any of you have very lucid dreams, which you remember well, then you're going to know that to be true, because you'll wake up and say, why are they back in my dream? Why am I saying, please walk away? And they keep coming back. And so here is the answer. There are several means of protection that are possible to use against those who intrude into our state of being. One simple method is to put a reversed mirror between yourself and the harm. So you pretend there's a mirror the mirror part is facing out towards the person. So it's kind of like they have to look at themselves. It kind of bounces off of you. It goes back to them. This is done by imagining a mock-up of a mirror that reflects back to the sender all unwanted thoughts and forces. Since I have done that, I have even heard people say to me, you look different. I'm thinking, yeah, because I'm not empathing or absorbing the negative blows that others are throwing at me, right? Energetically. And it could even be someone who's just jealous. It could even be someone who doesn't like that I'm driving the speed limit. It could be a number of different things, right? Another form of self-protection, Harold Klemp says, is to put yourself in a white circle of light. Imagine a circle of white light surrounding you. Then look out from this center at whatever is disturbing you, and you can see it more clearly. You may also imagine a wall that shields you from the psychic enemy. Now, those are inward solutions. If you find the need, then of course do whatever is necessary on the physical level. In case they're able to bother you physically, it may be necessary to ask for legal protection or contact authorities. When the force is all subtle, consider calling competent counseling and tell them what is troubling you. You could talk to a therapist, a counselor, a social worker. Ask what, if anything, can be done for you. The local hospital ought to be able to give you the names of licensed counselors. You can also find that online nowadays. And Spirit often works through medical professional people to help us out when we're in trouble. After all, healing comes from divine spirit. Just make sure you feel good with that person you go to. Then that means they're probably acting as a vessel for divine spirit to flow through them to help you. The next person asks, in my dreams, I'm often with friends from the past who I no longer see in the physical. They had a big influence in my life at one time, but why are they in my dreams so often today? So let's say you have some people you haven't seen since childhood. I have also had that kind of recurring theme dreams of people that I haven't seen much, but who made a big impact or whom I felt very close to when I was a little girl. So this is very interesting. He answers, your question deals with a very broad sweep of reincarnation. The family you live with today is only a small part of the extended family from your past. So you have a huge family that you don't even maybe remember from all eternity, from all of your incarnations. Each person's past link with other people in this life is more like being a member of a far-flung clan, which goes well beyond the close members of today's family. So in this life, other members of your extended family come as schoolmates, friends of childhood, teachers, and the like. If you ever just feel this strong affinity with someone, you can't explain it, and you just love that person instantly, it might be that you are part of that family group that he speaks of, and that you've had many great and familial feelings with them for a very long time, possibly thousands of lifetimes. Now, of course, if there's someone that you see and you really keep thinking about them and you don't like them much, it might be that they've been a nemesis of yours. The remain in your dreams because they're a very real part of you. For this lifetime, though, they have chosen a different mission and lifestyle, so you go along on your separate paths. But your inner bond spans time. It never ends, nor does it break. Freedom from suffering. I've let my fears really mess me up. Should my goal always be to choose my own way in life, no matter what others think of my decisions? Deep down, I know this is true, and yet it's hard to break loose of a feeling that insists that I must suffer in this life. Ooh, so that's a heavy question he's asking, or she. Basically, they feel on some level that they want to do what they want to do and they don't want to follow other people's advice. In general, let me say that people will intrude upon our good nature for their own negative purposes if we let them. So, before we even get more into this answer, first of all, there are energy vampires, sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, and just really very low on the conscious level people, okay, who will take advantage of a good person because it serves them, and they are greedy and they're starving because they're starved of love because they don't love themselves. And so if you are an empathic person, a kind person, a helpful person, need to guard yourself, first of all. So what he's saying is, yes, there could be people who are trying to convince you of something, but not for your own good. So you have to be discriminative. You have to be discriminatory and discerning and know which one has your best interest at heart and which is just a vulture. It is simply a matter of catching them at their game. Then slowly but gradually, over a period of time, letting ourselves be less accessible to them. Isn't that the truth? So you don't have to make a grand declaration with someone. You don't have to say, I can no longer be your friend. I know if you're an honest person, you want to be very straight up with someone, but the truth of the matter is you can just, I'm not talking about someone you live with, but if you are not really interested in spending time with that person, you feel energetically exhausted after you meet them for lunch, you can maybe return their call later, just be busy for the month or two, and then eventually they'll get the point and not continue to call you. That might be kinder actually than just being like, saying straight up, I don't want to be your friend anymore because I feel exhausted around you. Okay. It is part of the freedom we can develop for ourselves by adopting a different attitude about what will people think. With practice, and it is with practice, we get better at handling the subtle pressures and guilts that are thrown at us, especially if someone is attempting to bend our will to fit their own. No, without an explanation, is completely a justified answer. No, thank you. Well, why? Not interested. Don't want to. You don't have to engage. It's not your duty to answer the questions of another one. Of course, if you're in a relationship, like a romantic relationship or a close relationship that you wish to continue in, then yes, it is your duty to talk to that person and discuss how their constant questioning is making you feel and letting them know that this is a boundary breaker for you. And if they continue, then you just can't be around them and maybe you won't be able to be with them anymore and you'll have to break up. But with others, you don't really need to get into it so much. Remember, there's a circle. There's people who are close to your heart, who are warm, your inner circle. Then there's those family members, relatives, or coworkers that and they could even be the family that you were born into that you just don't have anything in common with, and you just feel like are energy vamps, and they can be far out at the edge of your circle. They don't have to be even close to your inner circle. And you can be kind and polite, period. And you can see them once in a blue moon or never at all. You are owing no one anything. Yourself is who you owe. Often it is enough to sing Hue. That is the highest vibrational word on the planet, and it means love, period. Okay? So you just chant Hue, and you can do it without it being out loud. So if you're with someone in an uncomfortable situation, you can just chant the word Hue, and they won't know, but it will pull in the higher vibration of love so that you can handle the situation with grace and love and dignity and respect, because we're not out here to hurt anyone's feelings, but sometimes you have to protect your own. So if you sing the Hue, the ancient name of God, love, inwardly and silently, whenever in the presence of a person who is intruding into our psychic space, it will make a difference. Singing Hue either opens us to direct help from divine spirit, or else gives us the insight on how to handle the next step in the situation for ourselves. Okay, I want you to know that the love and protection of the Ek, or spirit, is always with you. That spirit of divinity. People say Holy Spirit and people get turned off of that word if they're not in the Christian religion. It's just that it's a spirit of love, period. I'd like to call it loving spirit. And we go on to loneliness. I am beset by terrible loneliness at times, but am at a loss to explain it, they write. I am an isolated person, not that I want to be, it just seems to always work out that way. This has been with family, friends, and mates, as well as jobs and people connected to them. Everything is very short-lived, and it doesn't seem normal. I do the best I can, but no matter what I do, things are always interrupted and ending all the time. As far back as I can remember, it has always been this way. Whatever is going on, I know it has to do with some past life I lived. All right. I'm sorry for this person's pain and suffering, but let's read what the answer is to him or her. I greatly appreciated your letter and will try to shed some light on the feelings of loneliness you spoke of. Most of the karma we make is from this lifetime, although periodically there is a long-standing condition hanging on from another lifetime. Imagine, if you will, the life of a leper in Palestine shortly before the Christian era. Anyone with a diagnosis of leprosy faced a life of separation from his family and friends. The repeated reactions of horror and disgust by citizens when coming across lepers would be enough to leave a deep scar for centuries. This person might have been a leper in a past life and carries that kind of energy signature around with them still. Anyone who reincarnates into the present life from such an existence ought to look on the positive side. What a blessing it is to no longer be regarded as a scourge among people because of a disfiguring dis-ease. Just this thought alone ought to make one appreciate a healthier body in this lifetime. So do the spiritual exercises of Ek, and I, as the inner master, will work with you. Wow, that must be very hard to carry that energy and feel that way, and then people pick up on that. I will say this story: when I was in Haiti, I was in the jungle, and I felt bad for this one guy who was selling his wares, his artistry, like woven baskets and things. And because everyone, for some reason, would go to everyone else, but they wouldn't go to him. So of course, being as empathic as I am, I felt his sorrow. So I went up to him and I bought a bunch of stuff. Now, I got back to the cruise ship with my daughter and we discovered it was completely infested with bugs. And we wrapped it up in a bag. They took it away. Okay, so the point being that all these other people, and I felt there was something off too, but I felt bad for him, so I helped him anyway. But all these people sensed it. Now, do you see what I'm saying? So this person who had carried the disease of leprosy in his life, he can't help that, but people sensed it about him and they steered clear of him, right? I didn't, and I ended up with bugs. But it's a good story to use now. So maybe that was meant for this moment. I don't know. And he got some cash, so that was good because he clearly needed business, you know? Anyway, I hope that this video helps you guys, and thanks for sticking around. Like, subscribe, share if you'd like to. Maybe it'll help somebody who's either feeling lonely or afraid to be themselves, doesn't know how to say no to other people, has that people-pleasing tendency. And yeah, these are little helpful tools in the tool belt of life. Lots of love, you guys. Take care and have a beautiful day. It's a rainy one here. I hope you enjoy that quiet, calm raininess if you have it where you are. I know people complain, but I love it. It makes me so relaxed. Anyway, have a good day.